do. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for your awesome questions. Thanks for the opportunity to train. And God bless. Good night.
Love you guys. See you over there.
Thanks, Mom.
my journey. At the beginning, I was here about a month after you started, and I blew up my account in no time and realized this might not be for me. But here, the last few months, I gave it another chance, followed all the rules and everything, and become quite successful. I just want to say how thankful I really am for the community, for all the extra training, and just thanks for making it at home and feeling like family. ADT is a place to go.
Welcome to the Aftermarket. American Dream Trading. You have entered the Aftermarket. AmericanDreamTrading.com. Welcome. You are now in the Aftermarket.
Welcome to American Dream Trading's The Aftermarket live chat and watch party. I'm your host, J&J Video Reacts, and this is the stream has been created for you guys to just come and kick back and relax after the market. We have to decompress, man. Traders have to decompress. Market can be stressful. Okay, so it helps when you have an outlet to just kind of balance things out. You have like-minded individuals that understand trading and do it on a daily basis to just kind of convene with at the end of the day and say, what the hell happened? Did you make any money? Yeah, I made some money. How about you? I lost a little bit. Oh, really? What happened? Tell me about it. It's kind of like our bar, our after hours, like kind of stock lounge. That's what we did. So shout out to Chad W. Christian. He is the founder of American Dream Trading. He's a 32-year stock market veteran and has pretty much traded in every market condition imaginable. And he's trained us to do the same thing. And now I'm excited to announce that we have added futures to our trading agenda. So we trade stocks, options, futures, okay, soon crypto. All right, so it's a one-stop shop here. He trains us, and he's the only coach to do it on a live open mic, where you can literally interact with him and ask him questions. So if you're looking for a trading home, if you're looking for a mentor like that actually cares about you learning and not just teaching you how to chase call outs, so you need to go to AmericanDreamTrading.com and get signed up right away. And right now, we have a VIP membership, and a 6-month VIP membership is $1,500. That includes that one-on-one type style Zoom call training with coach. It also includes, workshop classes that we have on a monthly basis. It includes help desk support. All right. It includes trading view indicators. And then if you go ahead and act now, you're going to get 6 months of the VIP upgrade for free, which adds to that weekend training, breakout rooms throughout the week, and a news letter that's like no other. So we stay informed, which brings me to the title of today's show. 3 critical market movers. There are several, but we're going to discuss 3 here tonight that tend to move the market probably more so than any other. That is news, global impact, and earnings. Okay, so there's a lot to unpack within all of those. And if any of you have any questions, I have a gentleman right here in the backstage that I know is going to love this subject. Everybody welcome Palm Coast to the panel. While I'm bringing him on, don't forget to smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and share this video out. Let's get this type of learning out to people who want to quit their jobs and learn how to become financially free. Palm, what's up?
Hey, how you doing, Dawn?
I'm good. I'm good, man.
Did you make money today?
I did.
Awesome.
My stock of choice was IWM. I traded it up and down. I loved it.
That's a really great stock.
I love it.
It's got a lot of consistency. The patterns are good. The channels are good. The trends are good. Man, that's just I'm really glad that more and more people are watching that one now.
Yeah, it can have its choppy moments, but when it runs like it does today in one main direction or another,
Oh my
I
God.
mean, you can, and the contracts are inexpensive. And I got to give a shout out to DJ Vinny because he initially kind of brought it to the group's attention and turned a lot of us onto it. So shout out to you, DJ Vinny, wherever you are.
Hey, way to go, Vinny. I know I've heard him talk about it on
Yeah.
several occasions. Everybody's got kind of a favorite, and that one's definitely part of the package now.
Yeah, they put it in the pre-market setup, so hey, we got to watch it.
If it hits pre-market, it's got to be good, right?
Dude, I was just doing small contracts today. I was just picking $20 contracts out and literally doubling them. You know what I mean? I took a $15 one of them was a $15 contract, and I took it up to $45 and got out of it. I'm like, this is
That's just
like
crazy.
taking candy from a baby today. And that was one out of the money, Palm. It was at the money, dude.
That's insane.
$15.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, IWM, you I love you. I love you. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
What do you think about tonight's topic? I asked ChatGPT, what can we talk about tonight? And it started naming a bunch of different things, but then within it naming those things, I came up with this one because I'm like, wow, those things can be a topic because those three things impact the market significantly. Would you agree?
Honestly, I was coming a little late to the. I didn't even look at the thing. I just hit the restream. I clicked on the YouTube, and it's like I like didn't even read the content. Honestly, I just like knew I had to be in the aftermarket. I'm like, I don't care. I'm going to aftermarket. I don't care. It's all good. Yeah. So what is it again? I'm sorry.
Well, what it is three critical factors three critical market movers. All right. So in here, I've got depicted news, earnings, and global impact.
Okay.
So, I mean, to me, anytime, and I'm a new trader, so a lot of us are really new at this, but from the couple years experience that I've gotten under my belt, just with screen time, being in the group and learning from Coach, news, global news, whenever there's conflict, whenever there's something happening in the world, whether it's a natural disaster, I notice how, especially ETFs, like SPY and now with the futures, the ES, I'm sure, are affected.
Yeah. So what, like out of the three of those, which one of those, like, do you gravitate to the most when you hear it and you're trading something? Like what really just like stands out to you out of the three of those?
News to me.
Yeah. I feel the same way. Global impact. Yeah, I don't necessarily always, and really the obvious thing to do is if there's global impact, somehow is to run to, global conflict and that sort of thing, is to run and see how it's affecting, military contractors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, that's probably my least favorite of the three. And there's a lot of people that do very, very well with it. I just don't spend as much time on it as I do some of the other strategies and some of the things. But news, oh my God. News is huge. I mean, we've seen, how many times have we seen where somebody just opens their mouth on TV and then something goes wacky? It's like
plummet. Plummet, or it can go up significantly. It could be
good news, right? The rate cut, oddly enough, we got a rate cut and things went up a teeny bit and then plummeted. So,
right.
I mean, we don't always know exactly how it's going to happen, but we know it creates an opportunity, right? And if we got eyeballs, we can see the screen and see what direction, and then go jump on the train.
I like that because it keeps you from creating a bias, right? Everybody automatically thinks, just because like a couple years ago, NVIDIA shot to the moon when it had earnings. That doesn't mean it's going to happen every time NVIDIA has earnings.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, people, create biases when news happens. What is it? Buy the rumor, sell the news?
I always get that one backwards. I'm
like, which way
I'm
is
an idiot.
I think it's buy the rumor because it's like people will hear something and then, let's go hurry up and buy that.
Yeah.
And then when the news comes out,
then
you
sell it.
Dump it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yep.
I know we gotta be so careful too. So one thing we talk about in American Dream Trading all the time, right, is to trade the trade, have an open mind, wait and see what the market gives you, blah blah blah. So, from a psychology perspective and a mastermind perspective, we always have to avoid predisposed thinking. So, so if we go into something expecting that something's going to happen, and we make our play based on that, there's a way to do that. But all too often, the markets, starts off up for the day because there's been something, that people are reacting to, and then people are hopeful that it goes. And then the reality of it is it wasn't such a big deal when the market hits, and all of a sudden things sell off and stuff. So that's part of being mentally prepared for the day. And then, when there's earnings and stuff, we run into, God, what was it? I think Ted and I were watching Apple one day. Hey, Waffle, how you doing, bud?
Hey, Waffle.
Hey, guys.
Ted and I were watching, I think it was Apple, and watching going into earnings, and this is probably a couple quarters back, and they had some pretty exciting things to be talking about, but for some reason, man, it just hit like a flat tire. I mean, just really didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
The news was good, but people are having difficulty digesting the financial information along with it, and it just kind of sat there, and it actually went down, and it should have been, in theory, on positive news, should have been going up. And we were joking about that today, how Apple just kind of wanders around and does its own thing, and it's like, why is this not going up? And it's going down. And then sure enough, the market had a chance to digest it overnight, and then it had a nice bounce the next day and moved significantly to the upside and stuff. So we don't always know how things are going to act and react, especially going into earnings. I think Richard was mentioning that we look for, when we're looking at earnings, one of the first things that we hear is, were the retail
earnings per share, right?
Well, earnings per share is one thing, but usually we hear it was they beat retail estimates by this, and then the stock jumps to the upside, and then they say, but they missed it on margin.
Right.
But nobody knows exactly how much, or they could tell them how much they missed it by, but they can't really calculate it in their head because it's a whole nother set, whole nother set of things. And then, oh my God, they missed it on margin. Boom, stock, pulls down.
Right.
And then the earnings per share, and that's in relation to the rest of the market and stuff, and the relative value of the company. And you should know your earnings per share even before the financials come out, right? You should know where it's trading at and stuff to know if a stock is a value stock or if it's simply been overbought.
Right.
And how the news is going to affect, when the other two pieces of it come out. And there's so many other components in on that. So, yeah, we spend a fair amount of time. We have been spending a fair amount of time talking about some of those dynamics and stuff. But it's like, oh my God, we've seen a stock jump up, 10 or 15%, and then fall down 10%. And then
how about the ones that get good news and plummet, or the ones that get bad news and shoot up to the moon? It's like,
yeah. So
sometimes there's no rhyme or reason,
And that's why, I keep going back to predisposed thinking. If in your mind, if it beats earnings and you want to jump in and buy, but you don't know how the offset in margin is going to impact it, along with any other possible expenses or write-offs within the company, there may be other things in the financial that have hit that Wall Street's digesting much more quickly, or has a team of people on that have broken it down, and they're getting information back to the trade desk, and there's some slippage occurring. So that's why we trade the trade. If it's going up, we trade it to the upside. If it's going down, we trade it to the downside. If it's going sideways, we channel trade it.
You're right.
But we don't always know. When you hear those three numbers, you can see the obvious market reaction. But let me tell you this. Let me ask you this. If a company beats earnings by 5%, but then they miss margin by 1.7%, and their earnings per share stays within a point, what do you do? Buy or sell?
Sell.
I don't know. I would buy only because it was up. It beat. So to me, that would indicate that it's, on an upswing and people are enthusiastic about it.
So if they were up 5% in sales, but let's say that the company normally operates with a 33% margin, and it comes in at 31.3%, the fact that you've had higher throughput but made less money on the same money, you could actually be breaking even.
Ah,
it's a trick question.
That's why.
okay.
So that's why it takes a little while for Wall Street to digest it. And in order to understand,
Gotcha.
if that's a good financial impact or not, you would have to know expenses before and after G&A. You would have to know quite a few other things. So did if it's a retail operation, was there shrink or there theft or just
There's always
stuff
stuff depending on like Walmart and stuff.
Always shrinkage.
Walmart does a really good job actually on shrink. They've got all things considered. I mean, people get away with some very stupid shit at Walmart, but on a percentage basis, most Walmarts are actually pretty well controlled. You can't control everything. And would it shock you?
I used to actually work there, and they actually build it into everyday sales.
Yep.
There's like a 5 up to 5% margin on stealing.
0.5.
People just walk out of there. I mean, I've been security. I've seen people walk out of there with 60-inch TVs.
Yep. But when you're doing $130,000 a day in sales, it's not spit.
Well, no, that's why
not,
I'm saying they build it into the 5% every day.
It's 0.5. So at 5%, the manager's getting fired.
Well,
it's a 0.5%. And because their volume is so incredibly large, I mean, it is still a significant. I mean, if you're talking about a store that's doing $130,000 to $140,000 a day, it's anywhere from 2 to 5 truckloads, depending on the location, on merchandise. That's an incredible amount of throughput, and that number is very large. That 0.5% is huge. Yeah. But there's just so much else that's going through properly. So by the time you're starting to get 1.5%, managers getting written up, or you've had some what we loosely call gypsies, teams of 20 or 30 people that come in and rob the place, right? Waffle, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you've been in retail, you've seen some silly shit.
Well, we've got some, what do you call those? The German migrants that are farming and have colonies. Anyway, those
it's group theft.
It is. And they literally load up their dresses and I've seen it. I have caught people. It's sad. It very is,
Yeah.
No,
sticking
serious.
stuff in their clothes.
Shit, Don, you have no idea. I mean, there's like Palm said, 20 or 30 people come in on a couple of vans. They'll come in once a month, and they'll 40 people will load up a bunch of shit in their dresses.
They got pockets built into their dresses. They pull back a waistband, and they can dump a hammer, a turkey in there, and walk out waddle, and they'll be waddling between their feet, and they'll be walking like they got a hurt ankle or something.
Oh,
it's it's just crazy. But anyway, we're kind of digressing a little bit. But when it comes back to the actual value of the stocks, there's other things. If you've got offsetting data, which the average person, unless you know the company very, very well, you're going to have difficulty digesting that. So if you've got a beat on all three, your EPS is improved, your throughput's improved, and your margins improved, it's pretty safe that you're going to get a nice pop. And we've seen that. Stocks, when let's face it, back when that first major market crash was going on, a few years back after the huge spike to the upside, and then we had that big drop to the downside. We had seen a company that missed earnings. They were getting hammered 20, 30, 35%. I mean, big companies, their stocks were just getting brutalized because the whole marketplace was pulling because they were missing their expectations. And so one job of a CEO is to provide enough of a forecast that's realistic, but he needs to sandbag it slightly so that because CEOs, if they provide a forecast and they keep missing their forecast, that's kind of like his own personal report card. And people don't want to keep a CEO that keeps missing his forecasts.
Right.
They're like, what's wrong with them? But they want to provide enough of a forecast that the business is still moving forward. So that's a really tough spot. And what is it? The geo global, whatever the hell you call it. Some of the larger factors that are going on, broader marketplace factors and stuff. You can be the best forecaster in the world, but if there's other things that like rising inflation, rising interest rates that are just absolutely stuffing you, that the next couple quarters, because you've had to provide 3 quarters worth of forecast, and revisions down hurt the stock even before you get to the quarterly reports. So the CEOs have a tough job to do, and they do it under financial advisement and stuff. But
you want to hear a story?
Yeah.
Enlighten us.
1990, I worked for an aerospace company. was a Boeing 737 Manasco Aerospace in Oakville, Ontario. Moved from Cornwall, Quebec, Ontario area. And we had a CEO. And we would take in used 737 years and have to rebuild them. He would rebuild them, pull the serial numbers, put new ones on. And for those, I don't know, probably, I think we sold 13 sets. And at that time in 1990, each leg of a 737 was $65,000 US, which was $140,000 double. And we sold 13 sets of these 737 landing gears. He was fired because you cannot repair and overhaul and put a brand new serial number on an old piece that was supposedly thrown and destroyed in the garbage. And the company looked phenomenal because we were doing an average between 9 million and 13 million every month, all through the year, depending on the month. Usually in the summer months were bigger numbers. And when this guy came aboard for those, I think 5 months, I think it was from May to September, October, resold these rebuilt 737 landing gears as brand new and shot our numbers up. So there's a lot of underlying inside stuff that boosts numbers for companies, and that is one example. He got fired with $120,000 severance and a brand new Chevy pickup truck worth at that time $26,000.
Oh, wow.
Thank you, here's the door, goodbye. We don't want any publicity. Get out. And he brought those landing gears in to rebuild and sold it. So it was kind of you have no idea. Some people have no idea what goes on behind the scenes. It's interesting.
Yeah, foul play is something that it inevitably turns up. I mean, not everybody's completely honest. So, but
that's one example that I was involved with. Well, kind of around involved with because I was in the shipping department. But yeah,
there was a Chinese coffee company, the equivalent of like our Starbucks, and the executive board was trying to push some new product, so they distributed hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of coupons for free product to get the product out and sample it. Well, because they rang out X millions of dollars in this product and then zeroed it out on a coupon, their retail sales number was inflated, but their margin had suffered, and people couldn't figure out how their margin had suffered. Well, the CEO was getting paid on overall throughput, on the gross revenues of the company on a percentage. So he made a shit ton of money. The board members made a shit ton of money. That stock went from $47 down. The initial plunge was down to $7.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, increased revenue, but people couldn't figure out, oh my God, why is, within a day or two, they just had like record breaking sales. And then you see the thing plummeting. and this is why we don't use RSI. Because if you are watching an RSI, when a stock goes from 47 to 37 to 27 to 20 to 17, your RSI is going to be buried below that 20 mark, and it will be trenching. You've heard me talk about trenching RSI. That's why we don't use RSI. We use a different set of indicators. That's part of our program that we execute on. But if you were an RSI buyer and you were buying on your 20 or below 20, can you imagine buying that dip? Can you imagine buying 40, 37, 35, 32, 30, 27, 25? You're buying yourself into a hole that you're averaged out at what eventually would be, you'd probably be in somewhere at $25 to $27 a share. And that stock initially landed at $7, proceeded on down to $4 and hit $3.75 at one point. Ouch. Can you imagine if you had $100,000 account and you were trying to average down on that, and you wound up with $70,000 worth of crap,
That's crazy.
and then
dude.
praying for it to come around.
But if you're buying on the downside, you're going to win, right?
If
What's
you're
that?
doing what, you broke up.
If you're buying on the downside, you're going to win.
Not in that case.
Well,
Not if you're stuck at 27 and the stock's at $3.50.
And doesn't go back up.
Because if you average that down, you're in at
Yeah.
$27 a share, and now it's worth $3.50. It took 2.5 years for it to get back up to $7.
okay.
And that's why we don't use RSI. Anyway,
And that's why Coach tells us not to hold overnight.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm gonna hold something overnight, it's gonna be a blue chip company, something
Yeah.
that I might just have to wait out. And if I'm holding it overnight, it's after a pretty significant pull, and it's showing some bottoming formations, and possibly that first push back up and over the first resistance. So, but yeah, 100%.
Palm, I'm gonna sign off. But Palm, you have knowledge beyond, like, you're up there with Coach. Bruno, you guys are close seconds. Thank you for that. And I respect not only you, but I respect the guys. There was an individual, I didn't catch his name here towards the last 15 minutes of your show or whatever, the Zoom show, when he said he hasn't dumped any money into the market for 2 years. He's just been learning. I respect guys like that, because they're just sponges. They want to learn from guys like you, guys like Coach, people like Don. And thank you. I just want to thank you publicly for that. So
I'm humbly grateful. It's my privilege.
You're awesome, Waffle.
It's my privilege.
Awesome. And it's nice to have people like you acknowledge that and just come on and always be willing to support. So thank you for being you and being here.
Well, hey, I'm human and I love people and I'm just being me. And I appreciate you saying that. So thank you.
Yes, sir. When am I going to get that testimonial?
I did it.
What, the whole thing?
Well, I did the whole thing I just sent a picture, but I sent an audio.
Well, I thought we had an issue with the audio and you were just going to go ahead and do it on your phone or something.
On the video. Okay. Well, I'll see if I could. Well, the issue was I didn't have any space on my phone, but now that I've taken not 10,000 pictures, but 14,000 pictures, my iPhone has actually suppressed the pictures. So I'm able to video again. So I'm going to print that off and we're going to try it and see what happens.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you. That'd be awesome to have you on here.
Did you hear the audio? Did you hear at least what I wanted to say?
That was the issue. I couldn't hear it. It was very low.
Oh, because I resent another one.
I'll go look. Maybe I didn't hear your new one.
Okay. Anyway, I'll try and do a video. I'll put a suit and a tie on. None of this AI crap.
You don't have to get in your formals.
I actually own a suit and a tie. So, yeah, I'll do what I can do. But I love you both, and I love
you more.
Love you, Waffles.
And Palm, keep up the great work, man. You're phenomenal.
Tell Syrup and Butter we said hey.
F2, you just came on. I love you too, brother.
I think you're awesome, dude. Keep up. Thanks for being positive all the time. It's very uplifting. Thank you.
I try. Everybody, yeah, we all got to do our part. So I'm just a minute individual. Okay, take it easy.
Hog in the wheel. All right,
thanks, Waffle.
You too.
Bye. Good night.
You too.
Those of you that are down there in the chat, thank you for being down here. Disabled veteran. I don't know if you had got my message about maybe trying to redo it with better lighting as well, because I wanted to get yours up here too, because it was an amazing testimonial that you did. Thank you so much. Just wanted to say a quick hi. Eminem, what's up? Glad to see you're in here. And let us know how everything's going. Mikey D, Jeffrey's down there. Welcome, welcome. We got Ken. We've got Bucko 504. We've got Paul C down there. Welcome. Kevin Victoriano, Billy Mack, Billy. Oh, Billy Mack. Thank you for coming back. I love Billy Mack. I love that name.
That was actually pretty good, Don.
Thank you. Thank you. Nate can't stand it when I start singing. Yeah, and that covers it. So we got a few people in here tonight. We are talking about three main critical factors that can move the market, F2. And this was a good question from Palm. He asked me earlier, out of those three, which one would you say is probably the one that moves you the most when you're going to trade stock? Is it news? Is it global impact? Or would it be earnings?
It would be news on a daily, and then of course earnings when it's close to time. Like big news, like on TSLL this past Friday. I had the best trading day ever on it. And I couldn't wait to share, but I had to work with you, and I was up over 200%, and was the most profitable day I've ever had. And
what?
I hit my K.
Oh,
nice.
And
where's the bell? Where's the bell? We got to give him the bell for that.
Hell yeah.
So I got that basically off the news, which was, the public didn't like what, Tesla had to put out with the dates and stuff being far out, but mostly news for me. So
good job, man. You're just doing better and better. You're just doing better and better. And you start bringing commas into the mix on a consistent basis, man, you're going to be retiring a lot sooner than you think.
Be nice.
He always gets like, he's like, okay.
Yeah. F2 is, you're so modest. You're so modest. For anybody else who's listening tonight, I'm going to make you blush a little bit, F2. Going back several months, I ever asked him, I said, out of the last couple of weeks, how many green trading days did you have? And then I believe the reply was that he only had 1 or 2 red days out of the whole bunch. He was focusing on getting in, getting green, and getting out, and doing it with consistency. And then we talked about, in that one a while back, maybe last week, about pushing the envelope. Pushing the envelope is establishing a baseline of success and then incrementally moving forward. F2 is the epitome of establishing a baseline of success and then incrementally moving forward. Sometimes you push forward a little bit, sometimes you got to pull back a little bit, but he has advanced his trading for months and months and months. And it is so awesome to hear that you're throwing commas into the mix now. Congratulations, brother. It's just really, really outstanding. And anybody else in your chat, if you're on the Zoom calls, or even if you're on the chat tonight, if you want to find out how wealth is created, and how you build a program for yourself and build a financial future, this is the guy right here. We have F2, and just also done the same type of thing. They've focused on being successful over and over rather than trying to knock things out of the park. And because they do it with such consistency, they keep adding a little more and a little more. And then we talk about luck being preparation meeting opportunity. There is nobody more prepared than this guy right here. He has prepared every day and prepared and prepared and prepared and trained and trained and trained and observed and logged the screen time. So when the opportunities came up and now he's hitting commas, congratulations, brother. Awesome.
There are some days that I don't get to put in screen time, and I haven't been getting to trade as often because of work and things. But I'll come in from work and I'll do hours of just watching videos and listening to what Nate and Mark and of course you, Pomco. Like, if I can get a quarter of the knowledge that you have, that I would be set to go. So.
You're doing fantastic.
Yeah.
And when I've just said it so many times, luck is preparation meeting opportunity. There's people, that F2 guy, he hit a comma today, he's so lucky. Hell no. He has prepared his ass off. He has watched the videos, spent the time reviewing things, pre-market, post-market, always doing his homework. And over the course of time, he has established a baseline of success and continues to build on it. That's how it's done. That's how you take control of your financial future. And you know what happens if you keep doing it? I got to tell you, the numbers just keep getting bigger. You just start getting more and more comfortable with a little more money, slightly bigger trades. You're not going crazy, but you just keep improving. That's how it's done. We talked a while back with the Ange in the room. I remember bringing up the hypothetical situation of can you hit on a $100 account or $500, can you hit 1% in a day? And a lot of people are like, well, yeah, a lot of people are talking about 5, 6, 7, 12, 15, 18, in the 70%. Yeah, I think I can get 1%. You do it for a year, it's over 1,100% improvement. Holy crap. So if you can establish a baseline, it's not that you need to stop at 1% on profit for the day, but Jesus Christ, F2 200% and hitting a comma. Holy
Awesome.
Jesus. And it wasn't that long ago that we were talking about a lot of this stuff and establishing the baseline stuff. So, man, if you are newer to trading and you want to see through somebody's eyes, reach out to this brother on the Zoom chats or on the Zoom call. Just call him out if you're lucky enough to find him in there, and see things through his eyes, or shoot him a message, on the Zoom chat, because if you're looking to go somewhere, try to see through the eyes of somebody who's where you want to be. And
exactly.
Man, that's just that's outstanding. Congratulations on hitting the comma, man. And congratulations on your consistency.
It does feel kind of awesome.
Yeah, brother.
I don't know if I'll
yes,
get
it does.
Of course.
That really did. Like when I hit it, I was like, I got to share it. And then I'm like, no, I got to go to work. And
hey, better late than never, man. And the cool thing is your consistency is there, and you're making quality trades. You're not trading as often, but when you're getting in there, you're actually making an impact on what you are doing. So you're getting quality trades, which means that you've learned relatively quickly how to recognize a good setup, because you're not trading as frequently, but you managed to pull that. You managed to use your resources around you and get some money out of the market. So that speaks volumes. That's a professional trader.
Yeah. Success is, I think you'll have to agree, success is not 100% perfect trades, but you need, your consistency is very, very high. Very, very high. So I see Christina down in the chat. I see Waffle still hanging in there a little bit. John B.
Christina, hey girl, hey.
Yeah, hey girl, hey. And then let's see, can you talk about the stock drug today? Man, somebody was high on something when they pushed that thing up to $50.
And it started first thing in the morning. Drug was one of the top gainers on Webull this morning. So we've been looking at this thing since 4:00.
Yeah, volume came in early, and they made that thing just run like crazy for sure. Hey, just a shout out, quick shout out to people that are in chat. We're talking about the global news. We're talking about just regular news, global events, and financials. If you're hanging out with us, and I would like for you to post in the chat, which of those three do you find yourself trading off of more so than ever? So just put a quick note in chat. Do you trade on news, earnings, or global events? Just pop that in. I see Eric Smoto, Toby. So just punch just punch something in the chat and tell us what you like to trade off of.
Shout out to Eric Smoto coming in here when he is under the weather. Appreciate you, brother. I'm glad you're feeling better.
So James L, luck is preparation meeting opportunity. If you are preparing yourself and learning and growing, when that opportunity comes, you can capitalize on it. Luck is preparation meeting opportunity. News, Toby. Hey, great. I think a lot of people like that one. Let's see more in the chat. News, financials, or global event. Punch it in there.
And I've got drug up here.
News, Eric Smoto, hell yeah. Yep, I agree. PS news for him too.
Mm-hmm.
Man, news just shifts it right in midstream, no matter what it's doing. Earnings, Victoriano.
Yes, he is a warrior.
Yep. I know I see Victoriano's comments quite often, especially on earnings discussions.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of good input, a lot of good questions. John B. News, Papa Todd News.
What's up, Papa Todd? Let's go! Way to go, Eric.
Yep. All of the above, as long as it picks a direction. Nice, James. He's like, just go somewhere. I want to jump on. Gilly's like, all of the above.
Okay,
I know, Gilly.
Gilly.
You're often providing comments on and at any time those things come up, and you're definitely a quality part of discussion on those things.
Gilly,
Sure.
are you in the live chat?
He sure is. He sure is. So I think we can all agree that, you know, midday for just no apparent reason, the market can shift and stocks can shift with it. Funny thing is, like, sometimes sometimes some of the penny stocks, or, you know, stocks under the $7 to $10 range, they just don't seem to shift as much as some of the big names during the day, especially on the options trades and stuff.
Yep. Bucko 504 says news, earnings, volatility.
Yeah.
Patience for Penny says news.
M&M news creating volume. Oh my God, yes, absolutely. That's what happens, right? The news comes, and then, man, the volume, one way or another.
Is anybody down there still currently trading drug, by the way?
Man, I haven't even looked at the chart. Before we came in here, it was tapping the $50 mark.
I got it up here on the screen now. Let's see, where's it at?
Is that it on your screen right now?
It is, yep.
Man, that pulled pretty good. What's the price at? I can't even see. Apparently, it's just kind of small print on the screen I'm looking at.
Mm-hmm. It is
44?
right now 38.49.
Whew. Talk about volatility.
44.11. 44.11.
44.75.
Okay, Victoriano says news and deliveries. M&M says it's consolidating.
Yeah, it is right now.
It's at that 50. Looks like it's at a 50% pullback from the run. It's on a reversion. Hey, Rod, good answer. News and listening to ADT. Good answer, Rob.
I love it.
Rod, I'm sorry. Rod Big Deli. Rod Big Deli.
And where do you get your news from? Would it be Mark McSee?
I don't know. There's this pretty fancy report that we got out. I'm just saying.
Mark McSee and his gold newsletter. Make sure you are checking that out. All of you gold members, if you want to get the latest news, the earnings updates, and everything you need to know to be prepared, check out the newsletter, and you'll get that as a gold member.
I am just blown away. The first time I saw that newsletter, I was like, oh, that's nice of somebody to forward or cut and paste a newsletter from somewhere and put it in here. And then I found out our very own Mark McSee was the one that was generating that, and it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant.
It's awesome. Mark just
and that's not publicly given out. You can't subscribe to it. The only place you can get it is ADT.
It's here.
It's just here. Yeah, the world of finance under one roof.
Gotta love it. Got to love it.
So Jay Waffle, F2, what's the congrats for? He had a 200% gain, and he hit his first comma trade. So he was into the four digits on a 200% gain off of just a history of remarkably consistent trading. The guy just he lives and breathes get in, get green, and get out. That seems like all he knows how to do is get in and make money.
I wish it was that simple. Sometimes I occasionally I'll have a slight red day, but greens definitely outnumbering nowadays.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, I'm overgeneralizing. We all know it's different. Let's face it. If it was easy, everybody'd be doing it, right? And it's not, and not everybody is going to be able to get it. But no, I mean, it's just consistency is your thing. No doubt about it.
STEC is following the same pattern as drug. They look like the same chart. STEC.
Which one?
STEC.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Just looking through a couple of the aftermarket here. VS. Everything just kind of had a green day today, it seems like, right? BDRX.
I mean, there was a lot of stuff that was down, but I mean, there was just a lot of tradable patterns today, and there wasn't too much. There wasn't too much along the lines of shenanigans, right?
Mm-hmm. I loved it. But see, you know what? And that's where discipline comes in, because you have to have the discipline to sit it out when you can't trade. Like when there's not days like this, and everything seems to be choppy, and you're not a grinder, right? I love that term, by the way. Then just sit it out. You know what I mean? Because days like this do happen, and you can take advantage of it and capitalize on it.
Yeah, somebody told me a long time ago, and I don't know, different things ring true for different people. People hear things a little better one way or another. Somebody told me, if you've gotten in and had some good trades for the day, sit back and trade like you're retired and don't need to trade anything else. And just take that relaxed approach, looking for a setup, because quite often we're so hungry. Sometimes we're sharking for, we're swirling in the waters looking for
trying to create stuff to happen, right?
Yeah, it's like, oh my God, I got to shark this, just bite this off at just the right point and stuff. Nate calls it waiting in the weeds, and but kind of just have that level of patience, like a retired person waiting for the setup to come to you.
Now that's a good strategy. That I love, because that's all I do in the pre-market in the morning. It's just a lot more relaxing. You know what I mean?
It is. It's like I don't feel pressured. I don't feel pressure to make money in the morning. I just sit there and watch the screen. And if I get a setup, I do. If I don't, I don't care. Because the minute I try to force something, I'm looking at red right away.
Absolutely.
And looking at either cut or loss or waiting for a bounce.
Well, and it happens every time. You know what I mean? Anytime you chase it, or you put your position up on the screen and you try to chase it as it's going up, it's going to automatically pull you in right at the top and then do a drop. It like happens every time.
It's like a dog chasing a parked car, right? Boom.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I take it you just do strictly trading now, correct? You don't have a full-time job or anything?
Correct.
What did you used to have a full-time job and you did trading part-time and eventually worked your way to full-time trading, or
you haven't heard the story? Oh man, that's
awesome. I won't spend too much time on it, but so yeah, I had a corporate life, and I also owned some businesses, and because my life was in corporate America, I understood business before I understood trading. And then I used to passively invest, in 401k, became familiar with different investment products. And so the companies that I was working for were publicly traded. So I think a lot of people want to trade, and then they learn about companies. I had an in-depth knowledge of companies, and then I learned how, I would see how our company's stock was affected and stuff. And then I gravitated towards trading. So I kind of had a little bit of a backwards approach to it. So I already had a background in business administration and finance at an executive level, and then continued to, follow investments and stuff. And way back, I mean, I'm kind of dating myself a little bit, but when I was coming through business school, my first class on finance was we were looking at the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times for the previous day's stock prices, and charting our trends by hand. And then you had to call a broker and tell them that you wanted the stock, and then they would try to optimize the stock in 7 to 10 days on a purchase or something. And stocks were only traded by brokers and Wall Street elites. And a stock like Caterpillar, let's say, had a price of $200, and over the course of 6 months' time, it might move 14, $8, 10, 12, $14. And I'm looking at, and I'm like, why in the hell would I want to even get into that? I don't know enough about how those things work out, but I certainly, God, if I bought a $207 stock or something, hoping it's going to 14 and it goes down, well, I've just wasted 6 months of my time. So my thought back then was leave it to the people that do it. Then as trading became came more into the retail sector. I'm just going to call it retail trading because that's what it is. Where people, I seen E-Trade. It was like some of the one or two of the platforms. E-Trade was one of the first ones in. I think they were talking about $12 or $14 trades or $19 trades or something. And that started coming down pretty quickly. And then people started getting onto accounts, and then $9.95 trades. I'm like, well, shit. If I called a broker and I needed to move $35,000 worth of Pepsi, that trade costed me $250.
Wow.
Yeah, in and out. Selling at $250, buying something else another $250. That asshole got $500 for moving my stock. And I'm like, for $10, I can move it myself. I just need to learn a little bit more about stocks. And it's like I already knew how the companies work. And then I started getting in just like everybody else does. I'm like, okay, well, I'll buy a share of this, see what happens. Start paper trading. When I started, was literally writing it down on paper and then seeing what happened. And then subscribing to a company newsletter or making observations and stuff. So there was no like a big advancement in the house as if you had a ticker running in your house, one of those stupid red bars where the tickers are scrolling across, and things really didn't move that much in a day. I'm like you were a big stock baller if you had a ticker in your house. It's like, oh, that guy's a trader or something. That guy's following investments. So it's like, yeah, I've been familiar for a very long time. And then over the course of time, started making my own investments. One of the first things I ever learned in the marketplace, aside from buying and selling some stocks, and basically I was born a scalper, I think, was one of the most exciting things was if you bought a mutual fund that was being managed at anywhere from 2.5% to 5%. And I was thinking, man, I would buy into a mutual fund, and I was pretty happy if I got 8 or 9% over the course of a year. And out of that, the stock may have performed at 10 or 11%, but the broker would take 2.5 for managing. And I thought, well, that's a great deal. He takes a little bit, I get most of it. And I had no idea that on the backside, they're making. First time I realized that I could trade, I'm like, I made 40% of my money this year. I was getting screwed. And then I really learned how to trade and found out that could be multiple hundreds of percents, and that I was just getting, the shavings of what Wall Street was getting. And I was pissed. And that fueled my desire to learn about the market and then paying those fees and stuff. And I was like, okay, if I can get in $10, out $10. And then the first time I had a significant 5-digit trade, I was like, oh my God, why doesn't everybody do this? Or why didn't I try doing this years ago? And it was kind of a dumb luck situation. Somebody was kind of guiding me into something that was going the right direction. And I started accumulating shares like a madman. I took a position that was way too deep, way too deep, because I didn't know my head from my ass. I got lucky.
Yeah.
It turned out 42. It was like 42,000 and change or something. And I was like, shit. Okay, if I could do this 3 times in a year, I can quit my job. And
for sure.
Like, and even if I could, like we were talking to F2, establish some sort of a baseline, I don't need to be knocking down $40,000 trades. But then I started looking at the reality of why am I working 12-hour days, 14-hour days in a corporate life, that type of thing. So, but yeah, over the course of time, and trust me, I got my ass handed to me a bunch of times. There was no ADT. I did not have a refined trading strategy. I knew a bunch of people who knew stuff about stocks. And I've had I've gotten whacked definitely a bunch of times earlier. Education is not free. It never is. And you learn anything you do with your wallet. I don't care if that's starting a trucking company or starting a construction company. You learn by failures and expenses, and trading is no different. The beautiful thing is we have trading, we have paper trading that's built into the computers. We have support systems now. There wasn't guys on YouTube, there just was nothing. Yeah, there was basically economics was the deepest access that you had. and that was in college, because in high school they don't teach any of it. So why financial management is not taught in high school along with economics and stuff is just beyond me. But to Eric's motto, actually found Coach on YouTube and TikTok. I was watching him on YouTube, found out he had a TikTok live stream as well, and my YouTube was choking out one day, so I bumped over to TikTok. Then I figured and I was already trading anyway, so I figured I'll just park this. I'll park this in the corner and listen to it while I'm going about my business in the morning. And Coach is a pretty passionate guy, so eventually I started getting sucked in. So I remember posting, without going into too much detail, I remember posting a pretty successful trade one morning, and it caught Coach's attention, and it was shortly after that I wound up grabbing a lifetime membership. So I knew that he knew what he was talking about, and then based on some experience, I figured that I needed to take a really unbiased look at it. And so anytime you're coming in from any sort of other experience, no matter what you're doing, like Coach talks about, and I won't go into it because you can go pretty far, but emptying your cup, because I had a different way of doing things. And I told him when I started, I said, because he said, how did you get that? He messaged me. He says, how did you get that trade? And I said, it was simply a reversion play on a shit stock that overran. So I was looking for the 50% pullback, and I really loaded the boat with contracts. And wow. He's like, why such a large position? And I said, well, it's a shit company. It got overblown on a meme thing. And I was quite convinced that it didn't have much life left. And sure enough, a day or two later, it pulled back nicely and stuff. But anyway, yeah, that's so then the rest
it's kind of history.
Yeah. So I really did not need to. It didn't have to continue necessarily with a corporate life, but I was able to give up some other ventures and stuff, because I was a bit of a workaholic back in the day. No weddings, no funerals, no birthdays. Worked 7 days a week. Had my corporate life, and then I also owned 3 companies on the side. I had people running those. So what did I need to do? I would get out and DJ in nightclubs on weekends so that I could detach from all of it, because I just would never say no to money. So I'd work my corporate life. I'd get home. I'd catch up on the businesses that I owned. I'd have some little bit of time for my then wife, and then there was nothing left for me. So the only thing left for me to do was to get out at 10 o'clock at night and go play in a nightclub, in the major city that I was living in, play till 3 or 4 in the morning or something like that, and just kind of detach from all of it. And I really enjoyed doing that too. But yeah.
I believe it too, because when you do that on Fridays for us, sometimes, I mean, you can just based off of the genres and things that you pick, you're just you always do a really good job at that. So I figured you had some experience with it.
Yeah, that's really, really oversimplified and just kind of like throwing darts at a wall. But no, I actually had Pioneer CDJs, and I would play mixed house music in Chicago, and shit. I played in LA, played in South Beach in Miami, played at Gloria Estefan's nightclub when she had one in Miami Beach. Wow. I've been to their house for a Christmas party, played at their Christmas party as a courtesy, because she would use me so much at her nightclub.
Sweet.
Her and her husband are just amazing people. But I got a peek into a little bit of a pretty cool world. But when I was there, I didn't think about nothing. I wasn't thinking about trying to make money and thinking about keeping anybody else happy or hiring or firing or anything else. I could just completely unwind. And then I got to pop out, play in Las Vegas. If you're performing at a certain level, then they fly you out. You play for a night or two, and then they fly you back. But it's that's tough.
Wow.
So.
Wow, the travels and life of Palm. It needs to be made into a miniseries.
Oh my God, it just needs to be buried. I'm so tired, old and tired now.
Nah.
No,
it's always really cool to hear it. I mean, I love hearing your stuff, man. It gives us an insight to who you are as a person. You're so diverse, and that's one of the reasons I love having you on the show. You know, not only are you educated in so many areas, but you just have a really cool way of delivering it. You know what I mean? So, yeah,
you're very kind.
Pretty cool.
It's a privilege. Cool. It's a privilege to be around other people who are passionate about the same things, and I've always felt that way. And it goes two ways.
Me as well.
I learned so much. You know, anytime somebody's talking in these Zoom rooms or in these aftermarkets, and they're talking about the way that they do things or the way that they go about things, and it's like, and I see things through somebody else's eyes, it lends a different perspective for me. You know, and I self-check against those things and stuff too. And did I look at something this way before, or did I see something this way before? You know,
right?
So
absolutely.
It definitely goes both ways. It's a privilege to be here.
Well, thank you. Okay, well, did we have anything else that we wanted to add? Coming up on just about an hour here.
I don't think so.
If not, I am going to go ahead and end with Coach's Rules. This has been a fantastic show today. F2, thank you for coming and hanging out. Waffle, thank you for coming up on the panel. Appreciate you. You know, and Palm, as always, thank you for being such an amazing guest and, you know, doing a lot of reading of the chats and just, you know, the questions you ask and everything. It's awesome. You know what I mean? So thank you once again.
And congratulations, F2, on your 200%. Woo!
And the comma, man, because it could have been 200% without a comma. So that's a twofer. That's a
twofer. Yep, absolutely.
So yeah, way to go.
That's a double whammy. Way to go, brother.
Thank you so much. I can't say enough about this group.
We love you, brother.
I love you guys too.
All right, everybody. Have a fantastic rest of your evenings. Please go spend it with your families. Remember to get some balance. You know what I mean? All work and no play, or all trading and no balance. It's not good for you. So make sure you guys are going and spending some time with your families or getting some rest if you need it. Those of you that are going to be in the pre-market 4 a.m. Eastern Standard, I will see you mañana. Peace and blessings, everybody.
Good luck and God bless everyone. Good night.
Yeah. Hey. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Never lose more than 1 to 3% ever of your total account value in any given day. Always make sure you have stop losses on each and every single trade, whether it's shares or options. Make sure you guys are practicing base hits. Don't be trying to go for those home runs. Everybody be cool with that. Every once in a while you get the home runs, but that comes back to our other rule. Let the runners run and stop out the losers. All right? So if we're getting hammered on something and it's going against you, just get out of there. If you're new to trading, do not trade in the first 30 minutes of the day or the last hour, ever. And if you are new to trading, do not use real money. You should be using simulated trainers, and you can use them on all sorts of different accounts. TD has them. TradingView, you can do rewinds. There's all sorts of stuff. Don't come in with real money blowing up your account. That is not how you want to learn. I want to make you a stock market trader and not just another call-out chaser.